Yeah, the title is true. The title is completely true. I have technically 0.33 flight hours. That's 20 minutes. If you don't. Now let me explain how this happened. So, now let me explain. So, what happened was that there is this company called Fun Flight, which you can buy flight simulator from there. Now, for some time, it might happen again, they had a real flight where you could get to take a real flight with a flight instructor for 1,500 krona, which is around a little bit over $200. For that, you would get to be in a plane, get to fly with a flight instructor next to you. You will get to fly as much as is allowed, so that is as good as it can be. And you don't have to go through any flight school to do so, and you don't have to be an adult. I am not an adult. So, yeah. But they did take it off their website. So when I wanted to buy it, I couldn't. So a few days before, or like a month before I bought it, I contacted them saying, so this thing, is it still there? They said, no, it's off the website because it's partially done by another company which has something to do with the other company, Fun Flight. The flying is done by another company called Center Air. Center Air is a flight school in Denmark, and what they do is, yeah, it's a flight school. You know what a flight school is. But a lot of people were getting trained to be pilots, so they did not have the time to do it. So I asked them, can you tell me when it's available again? Then what happened was that they gave me a code that would make it so that I could still... Sorry, I'm yawning. So that I could still buy it. I'm not gonna give you the code. It's private. And I don't know if it still works. Probably not, but I'll not give you the code. I will not. But they gave me the code, and I then emailed a bit more to get more information. And I arrived at Roskilde airport. I've already been there twice. One time was a time where I went, there was this teacher in my school who had a husband that worked at a mechanic, I guess, at the airport, aircraft maintenance. And that was at a place in Roskilde, so I'd been there. And then I'd also been there at Roskilde Air Show, so I'd already been at Roskilde Airport twice before, and I liked the place. Anyway, we arrived, we sat down in the terminal and just waited for the instructor, because that was what we were supposed to do. We sat down, we waited. After a bit of wait, before I tell you, I also filmed some planes, including a KLM aircraft from, I think, Diamond is the company that makes it. Is it the 42? I might be just talking random stuff. I think it's the 42. It's a 2-engine Diamond aircraft, I think. But what happened next is the instructor arrived, but I didn't have my passport with me because we did not know that we had to have photo ID like a passport. We did not know that, but apparently we did need that. But she, yes, the instructor was a she managed to get permission for me to go into the airport anyways. My first mom just had to file a few documents. After that we went into a Center Air building, because even though it's Fun Flight that does it, the flying is being done by Center Air. I don't know if it's a Center Air plane or a Fun Flight airplane, but I'm pretty sure that two companies are owned by some people that know each other and something like that. I don't have a lot of information on that. What happened next was she told me how the flight was going to be, she told me where we were going to fly and showed me a map, but I've already seen the map before because I had contacted an airport called Grønholdt, which is close to where I live, asking if they know a closer airport to where I live, and they gave me the map then, because there was airports on the map. Turns out the closest airport to me is both Grønholdt and Anise. They're both around the same distance. But other than that, I didn't really know a lot about the maps, other than the fact that they were maps. But she showed me where we were going to fly. She told me what airplane we were going to fly, and I'm probably gonna say that's probably my new favorite one-engine prop plane, the Piper PA-28 Cherokee. This version is a Cadet version for pilot training. Center Air has 2 or 3 of them, and they seem to be fine. They only have one door. There's 4 seats, one door. The door is on the co-pilot side for some reason and not the pilot's captain's side, but that's fine. I got to sit in the captain's seat while she sat in the first officer seat. Then she told me a few stuff and a few things, and then she showed me the checklist. The checklist had a lot of items on. I can't really remember the order, but I can tell you a few of the things. There were some things. The first thing was before start. There was like checking a few lights, a few other stuff. There was, I think, setting the altimeter. I'm pretty sure that was either before start or at the start checklist. I don't remember. But a few other things happened and the engine was started. After that, she showed me the rudder pedals, but I already knew the rudder pedals, so I already knew how they worked. So she showed me what way to taxi, and she also let me apply some power on the engine. She told me how much was needed, and I just applied that amount of power. Also I also got to change what fuel tank the fuel was coming from, which was also great. So we the airplane drove because we weren't in there. We drove down to a point just before the runway where we could quickly check everything, like the engines, or not engines, like the engine, before we took off. But before we took off, I just want to tell you a thing. The airplane I flew, I'll find a picture from Google, but it's this airplane, and it's a Piper PA-28 Cadet Cherokee. And its registration is OY-JEB, Oscar Yankee Juliet Echo Bravo. I'm pretty sure that's what they mean. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on it though. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, after that we drove out to the runway. She aligned it, and I got to take thrust up to 2000 RPM, and then after that up to full thrust, and we rotated at about 55 knots. The plane got up in the air, and we started ascending, and then we turned left. It was supposed to be at 650 feet, but we waited until I think 800 or 900 feet until we turned left. No, right. Until we turned right. For you that would be that way, for me that's that way, because the camera is inverted. This is my right hand, this is my left hand. But what happened after that was she showed me what way to turn and how to keep the plane level, and she told me what to do. I got a few videos, not a lot of videos from it, because I had my hands on the controls. She also had her hands on the controls while I had my hands on the controls, but I had my hands on the controls. She told me what to do, she told me what I had to correct, and all in all I think she's a great instructor. We flew a bit, I got to turn a bit, and I even got to make a 360. I didn't film it though. I got to make a left 360. I also got to do some, it was all visual flying. All visual. So we didn't have to do a landing checklist at all, actually, because apparently we didn't. I don't know what makes us not have to do that. I don't know that yet. But yeah, I'm not professional. What happened after that was that back to the flight. We are in the air. I got to make a few other turns. It was very interesting, and I got to film a few videos while she had the controls fully to herself. I put my camera back on the back seat of the Piper Cherokee. On the back there was some heavy objects to make to balance out the plane, because I think it would be nose heavy if there wasn't anything in the back. But yeah, she also we also got to test the trim tab before taking off and before doing stuff. It was all fine. It had a Garmin panel installed and modern equipment. It had electrical artificial horizon. Not all Piper Cherokees have that. Other than that, it had some other interesting systems, and the headset, I got to have it on and I could listen to the radio. She also showed me what button was to transmit, but I didn't get to use it because that's not at my level. That's not where I am in terms of experience. She talked on the radio. I didn't. But she showed me where the button is. For the captain, it's on the yoke, like just on the right hand. It looks left for you, but on the right hand there was a red button on the yoke. But for her, as she was sitting in the co-pilot seat, she had to reach out on the button on the control panel and press that down, and that was the button for her to transmit. It wasn't on her yoke. 2 seconds. The door was making some sound. And yeah, it was all very great. We also looked at if the prop was clear before turning on the engine. That's of course very important. I'm bouncing a bit around in terms of when I remember some stuff that happened. But yeah, it does not have retractable landing. Yeah, it does have flaps though. They're manual flaps on that airplane, not hydraulic. They're manual, so there's a lever in the middle between the seats, which when you take up, it takes flaps down. When you take it down, it takes flaps up. Inverted, I know. The brake was a handle under the control panel next to my leg, my right leg. And she showed me how to use it, how to set the parking brake, which was I think it was great. She also showed me that when you go into the wind, you have to turn the wheel. I don't remember which way you have to turn it, but I'm pretty sure it's to counteract the wind, because there was a lot of wind, so there was also a bit of turbulence. Not a lot, but a bit. You might even be able to see it out the window. The leaves are moving. Yeah, so yeah, but this is far away from Roskilde, but that's about how much wind there was. There was a bit of wind and a bit of turbulence. So yeah, it was very great. I think the max speed that it flew at was about 100 knots. But when we landed the plane, she also had her hands on the controls, but she let me do a bit. I got to flare, but she also had her hands on the controls. She also did a bit to make sure it was in the right position, which of course is great. She also did that for the rudder and other stuff and other controls. She also told me when to take a bit up and take a bit down. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, it went well. I asked her, for a person that has not went through pilot training, how did I do from a scale of 1 to 10? She gave me a 12, which it's above the scale. I'm pretty sure she think I did very well. But I also identified some aircraft types that she could not identify. She's a pilot, but she doesn't know the most aircraft types. She had heard of Embraer, but she didn't know that. She didn't see a private. She saw a private plane. I mean, I saw it, and I said, I think that's an Embraer Legacy. And she said that she could not say if it was because she did not know. But yeah, it's an Embraer Legacy. I'm pretty sure that's probably the only thing it could be. Probably the only thing it could be. Yeah, that's everything it could be. It cannot be anything else than an Embraer Legacy. What then happened was that I also saw some other planes that she couldn't identify. I identified what I think is a Cessna 150. I'm pretty sure it's a Cessna 150. And some other aircrafts. I'm pretty sure I also saw a Saab 340 or a Saab 2000. Just broken and close to the hangars on a piece of grass. I didn't film it. I think they should install either a camera or a place to put a camera in that aircraft, because that would be so fun to have like a whole 20-minute flight on a camera without having to pick it up. I think that would be great. But yeah. Anything else? Let me just think quickly. I know there was other stuff. I got to set the QNH on the altimeters, both on the electrical and mechanical. 2 of the altimeters, when set to that QNH, agreed. 1 was slightly off, but she told me it was fine. The 2 that agreed was fine, so we could use those. We flew at around 1,300 feet, plus and minus a little bit, for most of the flight. Except when we took off and landed, we stayed around 1,300. And we flew around Roskilde, the city. And yeah, we avoided flying over the city and cities because they don't want noise over their city. I would personally like to get planes flying over my house every day, but I think my neighbors would find it just a bit annoying. I was about to yawn again. Not because I'm bored, I'm not bored at all. I like telling this. It happened today. Today is the 16th of May, and it'll be forever remembered by me as the first time I sat in the captain's seat of a one-engined propeller plane while it was on, and the first time I flew an airplane, because technically I did fly it, and she said that those 20 minutes of flight could count. So that's great. So technically I have 20 minutes of 20 minutes or 0.33 flight hours. So that'll be forever remembered by me. I have technically 0.33 flight hours. Thanks for listening to this. Oh, and quickly, I think my new favorite one-engine propeller plane is the Piper Cherokee. It was the Cessna 172 before. Now I think it's the Piper PA-28 Cadet or Cherokee. Yeah, whatever it's called. And I'll leave you with my normal outro song, but instead of the normal outro stuff, just a picture of the plane that I found on Google. Goodbye. And that's all. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.